So the top three concerns were the AvA system, the Ochre Quest, and the group finder. And I'll just read. I haven't read any of that. I will read that and I will give my thoughts about that. Let's see what they're thinking about the AvA system. I know that this topic is a really big priority in the community. Lots of people think that nuggets and mafias, a lot of discussion around this topic. So I'm interested in reading what the response is. So, stagnant territories hijack nuggets, guilds adrift. Territorial PvP was meant to set the world of 12 throbbing with life, not choke it. What should have been an epic battlefield has become a private playground for a few well-organized alliances. It's time for a change. That's a good start. I think a lot of people agree with that. The people disagreeing with that being the quote-unquote mafias. Okay, AvA, a great idea until it wasn't. Launched in 2013, the Alliance versus Alliance system is supposed to refresh the game geopolitics. Freeform alliances, prism to captures, resources to tax, nuggets to share. At first it worked. Every conquest colored the map, and victorious war cries could be heard day and night. Haven't really been playing at this point, so I don't know, but that sounds like it was working pretty well. But then the cracks started to show. Ghost alliances, duplicate guilds, backroom territory swaps. AvA turned into a lopsided chess match in a few short months where only the best organized group moved the pieces on the board. That's my main concern about AvA. It's that it's so meta-gamed that people are just organizing themselves on discords and saying, okay, we're gonna win this fight and blah blah blah, and it's become just a political game outside of the game. And then once people like agree outside of the game on Discord, they just do the protocol in game, like, okay, let's put 200 people on a stack, and it's not really a fun gameplay. It's mostly like who knows who and who managed to convince and rally the troops, which can be fun, but it creates really big monopoles and it's hard to start playing that part of the game as a newcomer. Well, the big banners copied up together and their echo chambers, smaller alliances were pushed out or absorbed. Territorial PvP cast aside by most players, tired of losing before they even got a turn. There we go. They even got to play like a fight. You just go in a spot, you stack up, and then at some point you're like, oh, we lost. You get deleted by some dude super optimized. So it's a real. I think they have put the finger on the problem. The revamp. Hope, then a cold shower. We tried to break the vicious cycle. New rules, tweak loot, shorter time periods. The goal, put everyone back on square one. The outcome, the reigning champs just sprinted faster. Yeah, they went over the rules. Their coordination let them dominate the now faster combats, while other leaders realized they weren't fighting in the right weight category. Pile under the frustration, the nugget economy overheated. Inflation, scarcity stifled markets. It was a deja vu for anyone hoping for something new. So it just didn't change anything, basically. After that, meanwhile, guilds. By going all in on alliance, oh yeah, that put guilds kind of, the revamp didn't change anything on the AvA, but put guild kind of on the side because now guilds weren't inside of alliances, which was a good split. But the guilds feel a bit empty now. Their mechanics were trimmed down, their impact diluted, the social role underestimated, and subsequently underused. Yet it's guild that create the memories, the reciprocal help, the epic all-nighters, and those homecoming moments with your guildmates that truly bind the community together. I 100% agree with that. We saw the imbalance but lacked the time to fix it. Today we've got that time, and we want to use it smartly with you. Let's see what they cooked. 2 big projects, 1 goal. Bring back the stakes into AvA by cutting out its abuses. That's good. Restore the full shine on purpose of guilds. That's also good. To do that, we need to lay solid foundations. What we have in mind for guilds. At the end of 2025, that's good. Guild raids. Let's see. Fresh content for guildmates. Time and ranked execution with varied objectives for all types. Combat, crafting, logistics. Every member can contribute in their own way, all the while key guild roles will finally carry real responsibility. Okay, daily and weekly missions. A new progression system for guilds. Mission options for certain member according to their guild means. Okay. Rewards, guild XP, temporary bonuses, and even useful resources. Please give nuggets in PvP. PvP rewards, but PvP players are not gonna be hyped about that, but let's see. Feeling of real momentum together every day. In short, we want that being in a guild matters. Yeah. We want deeper social bonds and a reinforced feeling of belonging. In saying that, for solo players, Dofus will continue to be just as welcoming. Those seeking a collective experience in their adventures will find this proposal compelling. The rework of guilds is a bit worrying to me because I like that people just help each other because they mean to, because they want to help. And I'm afraid that people are going to just try to optimize all of these rewards and being like, I'm afraid of like, we're going to have a pressure. Oh, you're in the guild, but you didn't participate in that weekly raid. I'm going to kick you off the guild to bring in someone that's going to play more regularly and that's going to contribute to make the guild generate rewards. I'm afraid that making system in the guild that you can squeeze for money will make guild like a try-hard experience that's kind of somewhat toxic. But we will see how it's gonna unfold. Let's read about AvA. We won't be relaunching it blindly. Before we start, we'll need to diffuse what poisoned the system. We're considering a transition phase with area captures put on hold. Okay. Nuggets generated outside of AvA with an open system, a bit like runes. I talked about that last week. I think that's really good. Fixed prism share, 50-50 with caps to stop hoarding. Oh, okay. So now there's kind of a incentive to share back the nuggets because there's like a maximum amount that the alliance can hold. Keep perceptors as they are for the 5v5 fans. Okay, that I don't really mind that too much. I don't think perceptors is the really problematic part of the AvA. Maybe after a while, like we could look onto that and see how we can improve that. I say we, but I mean Ankama. This time the goal is to break monopolies without ruining the fun. Another idea on the board is to introduce an intercity PvP back to life. A lot of people are gonna like that. We're not talking about the return of a headhunter, so just so we're clear, but brand new content focused on Bunta and Bragmar. The idea is brewing. We will share more when the time is right. I think without knowing anything about this, just the fact that it's banking on nostalgia is gonna be good. Okay, now we focus on bug fix stability and the Ozamadas Divine Dimension. That's right. Then in June 2025, survey the community on AvA and guilds. September, we're discussing, I guess, like they're doing like two dev blog on features like breeding. There was 2 dev blogs. So the first one is going to be in June. Or maybe it's just going to be a survey. And then in September, like, it's going to be a dev blog with the discussion. And then at the end of 2025, we're going to get the guild overhaul and preparing the economy for the AvA overhaul, which will come in 2026. Cool. Don't forget to vote in the survey. Give your opinion even if you don't know anything about AvA. The people that don't play a part of the game are as important as the people that play that part of the game when they do surveys, because most of the time they want to broaden. So when they do a survey about breeding, people that do breeding, their opinion is important, but also people that don't do breeding, because they want to know why they don't do it, and maybe make it more accessible. All right, let's go on the Ochre Quest. This is the topic that I'm the most interested in. Okay, since its introduction, the Eternal Harvest has become one of Dopus' most iconic quests. Feared and loved in equal measure, it's a rite of passage for many of you, but even legendary quests can gather dust. Today we're taking stock, what works, what doesn't, and what could change. What happened next, your input will help guide the decision. Just before I dive in, I'm going to give a quick overview of what I'm thinking about the Ochre Quest. I don't think it's really fun. I think there's a problem with the game where there's scarcity that is causing a competition between the players, like resource gathering, like archmonster farming, like some quests in Frigus that require you to click on some flowers. Like if you have, when you play these kind of content, it makes you wish that there were less people playing the same game as you, which is not a thing that you want to think when you're playing an MMO. So I think that part of the Ochre Quest that creates competition, you see an archmonster, you're not like, hey guys, I found one, come in, it's a community moment, like let's help each other fight this hard challenge monster. Everyone can beat it. It's just the one that clicks the first, and that can do that 286 times. This person's gonna get the Ochre. And yeah, I think that it's a bad design, and it's really frustrating. It's a part that I really dislike about the game. Back when Dofus would still drop, the Ochre Dofus was the key that opened the door to major acquisition quests. In theory, it would be an adventure that player could experience throughout their adventure from start to finish. In practice, it was a long, complex, often grueling, and sometimes even wonky quest. We take the complexity seriously. Adjusting an existing quest is risky, as altering it can disrupt someone's progress. That's true. Most of the time, we prefer completely dismantle everything and create a brand new quest. But wiping the slate clean with Eternal Harvest Quest is impossible. It's too dense, too ingrained, too complex. So instead we kept it and made an exception. A handful of targeted adjustments. I think these adjustments were a step in the right direction, but I also think that they were not like enough. Like it's too much of a band-aid. It should be like a complete, in my opinion, there's no good solution that will not shake it from the ground up. Oh, hello, Whirly. Sorry, I didn't see you there. I'm gonna keep focused on the on yapping. That's perfect. Okay. What's already changed? Lore finally in place. At first, the Ochre, its dragon, and its guardian, it was all pretty vague. Thanks to the Ember Ochre quest line, their story has finally begun, albeit late, but better late than never. I agree with that. I think the lore quest around the Ochre is a good quest. It's fun. It has not really any frustrating parts in it. If you want to read, you have like nice tidbits of information about the lore. If you don't, it's pretty fast. You can queue it in with your progression. It has a lot of dungeons in it. It progresses at the same rate as you, so that's good. Less competition, more cooperation. Yes, that's what I'm wanting. The Eternal Harvest is a competitive archmonster hunt, which has its charm and challenges. However, the community spirit it fosters deserves to shine. Trading duplicates, teaming up against the odds, and more. Yes, I want more of that. I'm not that big of a fan of trading, but it's not the most problematic part. That's why we introduced Divine Thingies, so it's give an incentive to invite your guildies, but every time you see someone, you're nervous, you want to click. I saw someone on the map, so I started the fight. Quick, 5 seconds left. I kinda hate that. Clone boxes, traded for Divine Thingies, letting you face a random arch clone. Okay, so it's just explaining the combined harvester event, sparking more activity and community interaction around these hunts. Good, but not enough. More flexible Archmonster spawns. The quest's competitive edge hinges on Archmonster scarcity. Yes, I don't like the competitive edge. No Archmonster, no Ochre, no diffuse unification. That's a definite stop. Yes, that's a definite problem, I would say. We've got Archmonster respawn times dramatically. Thanks to Divine Thingies, the situation is now stable on the historical servers. Alas, pressure is still high on the Pioneer servers. I can't say because I haven't been playing on the historical servers for a while, but there should be like a way of scaling the quest so the number of people that have done or haven't done it doesn't matter. But on the Pioneer servers, no one has Ochre, so everyone wants to do Ochre, so it creates a really high pressure on the Archmonsters, and it's a design flaw. We don't want to break everything down. We want it to work for everyone without creating new roadblocks. Yes. Here are a few options on the table. Letting everyone in the fight capture the Archmonster. Yes! As long as they have a Soulstone equipped. I want this. I've been saying this from the start. Rewarding certain quest steps with Divine Thingies. That's good, but that's not enough. Reworking the quest structure without deleting it to improve pacing and logic. Also yes. Running Combined Harvester events regularly if the pressure remains too high. It's like a good band-aid. Like here, we're injecting a bunch of Archmonsters, but it doesn't solve the problem at the root. Why not change it right now? Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's Worley that said that. Great question. Answer because this quest is a layer cake. Every tweak takes months of design, balancing, and testing, and we're also finishing Ozamada's Divine Dimension, upcoming update, as well as all the debugging work. Yes, there is a lot of pressure. I'm gonna do a quick parenthesis here. Currently, there's a lot of pressure on the devs because since they're working on debugging stuff, the game designers are not helping with that. So the game designers are kind of twiddling their thumbs. So they design stuff, but there's like an overflow of design ideas. Like, oh, let's change Ochre, let's change AvA, let's change breeding, let's change dreams, let's create a new dimension. And the game designers are getting frustrated because what they design cannot be implemented because the devs are too busy fixing the bugs and also implementing some stuff. But I've heard that from a Laniel video where he met with a game designer who said, we're designing stuff, but it never gets implemented. It just gets added to this huge stack of stuff. So I understand why they're not changing the Ochre Quest right now. Let's see what they're gonna do right now, and let's hope that they're gonna change it eventually. What's next? Over the upcoming week, we'll pour over every comment. Your feedback is crucial to keep us headed in the right direction. So if you have any opinions, don't forget to write it on the forums. Our next check-in on this topic is gonna be in June. We'll tell you about the Eternal Harvest quest we're keeping and changing. In short, what's planned. Persona says that the game design should not be made for short-term issues on new servers. That's true, but that's also false. Let me explain what I mean by that. Is that it should not, long-term game design, you're right, should not cater to the needs of new servers. But when launching a new server, you should have measures in place to make sure that there is no big roadblock or big frustration on these new servers. And I think a feature that is designed for an existing server where a lot of people already have Ochre, oh, it's balanced then. It's kind of a game design flaw that the population of new players anything that is made less fun the more new players arrive in a game is a bad design, in my opinion, at the root of the issue. So I agree with you, Persona, that you shouldn't like design something for one specific event because at the long term it's not scaling and it's gonna cause problems. But I think the fact that you have to adjust for new servers is kind of a bad smell. Okay, so I'm happy because what they're kind of saying goes in the direction that I want. So it's mostly this: less competition, more cooperation. I think it feels less tedious to do a long term quest that requires a lot of investment if you kind of feel like you're part of a community while doing it. Oh, I found an ochre. Okay, not an ochre. I found an arch monster. Okay, let's all do it together. And I like the fact that you collaborate with the community to reach a long term goal. That's the main goal. If you have like a long term quest that doesn't require you to collaborate with the community, but that doesn't put you in direct competition, like the Almanacs quest, that's also okay for me. Like the Almanacs quest is a long quest, takes a lot of time. Most people take a longer time to do Almanacs than they take to do Ochre, but there's no frustration there because you don't. It's not like the 101st person that come up to the Almanacs temple get to make their offering and the other ones too bad so sad. So it doesn't cause a problem on new servers, except for maybe the first 2 days where you have to fight Cabal monsters. That's not gonna happen, but that's not too bad. So yeah, I think Almanacs is a good quest that takes a long time and that doesn't put people in competition with each other. You're not, screw you, new players that come and ruin my game. You're just, more players, more people will get Dolmanax. There's not a limited amount of Dolmanax. All right, I've talked about Dolmanax enough. I'm gonna switch to the group finder, which is also an interesting topic. But first, a bit of hydration. I'll touch on your comment a bit later, Persona. I just want to go through all the articles first, wrap this up in a short amount of time so I can put that on a video, and then we can discuss more in depth about all of these topics. Finding companions to go on adventures with shouldn't be a quest in and of itself. For years, even more so since the arrival of single account servers, your feedback has been clear. The group search feature needs to be redesigned. I think this is especially important for international communities that are a minority. The idea isn't new, it's even rather old. 2011 for those of you feeling nostalgic. Here's a quick link to the dev blog on the topic. Back then, the tool was rigid and restricted to dungeon invites, and it struggled to find its place alongside the recruitment channel. The result was largely ignored and was therefore removed. But Dofus changed, and so did you. Today, we aren't just looking for partners for 1 or 2 dungeons. No, we want to build a group to hunt archmonsters, complete wanted notice, take up intensive farming, etc. Accordingly, we want to start over entirely from scratch to completely redesign the tool. That's good. The idea isn't to force one method on you, but rather to create a feature that matches your desires, your habits, and your gameplay style. The goal is simple: shorten wait times, help new players find companions easily, and above all, offer a smart solution. We've obviously noticed that the community has already DIY'd a nifty engine for themselves. Dofus Guide, which is the Magem app with its own group search prototype. They'll be sharing their experience and findings with us, and we are very eager to discuss it all in much greater depth. What they've produced is all the more interesting because the tool designed by the community for the community is extremely likely to be relevant, within the limits of the terms of usage, of course. On the production team, we haven't taken our eyes off the ball and are focusing our efforts on client stability, debugging, and future Osamadas dive in dimension. Yes, they keep repeating that. Subject of the group search feature is also making progress in parallel and will become a main focus as soon as the groundwork is advanced and interesting enough to be used appropriately, and above all, when the client stability is fully ensured. Finally, we'd like to set a date with you in September. At that time, we'll go over the process that have been made in preparing for this tool. We're targeting having it online by the end of the year. Obviously, we'll keep you posted at every step. Until then, blah, blah, blah. We are reading your feedback. Don't worry about that. That's a recurrent theme. It feels a bit scared, their approach on all of these topics. They're like, yes, we're listening. They kind of repeat the feedback of the community, a bit like last week. They're doing kind of a recap of the situation. We hear you. You guys think that we need a group search for finding activities together. We want to build it, but we want to build it with you. Keep making comments, keep designing with us. And yeah, it's a lot of, they're not taking a lot of risks in these posts, and they're mostly like reiterating a lot of stuff to kind of rebuild the trust. I think it's a good thing. I like reading these, even if they're kind of a bit empty, and that they don't come up with bold ideas, understandably. And most of the time they're repeating, guys, we're working on bugs, we're working on Divine Dimension, we're working on the next updates. All of these things that we're discussing freshly will not be knocking on the door tomorrow morning. It's gonna take a time, but it's kind of a sneak peek at their big board of ideas. Here are the ideas that we're aware that you guys want, that they seem to be your priorities, so we will work on that. I think that's good. This is the topics for next week. The 3 new topics raised concerned this week in our communities. They're gonna run quickly out of topics, I feel like. The rare drop. The drop of Dofus in combat used to be a thrilling feature for players. Many are hoping for its return, suggesting the addition of rare gear or cosmetics to bring back the excitement and sense of reward that made farming truly worthwhile. I'm divided on this, but we will see what they say. I'm not too much of a grinder fighting the same dungeon 200 times in the hopes of dropping the Dofus. I agree that when I dropped the Gelano on the server rush, it was pretty high, but it was one way to get the Gelano. The other way was just it's not locked behind like a random system, and I think that makes it not frustrating. If I had to drop it, that would have been frustrating. Visibility in combat. Between glyph status and visual effects, clarity is sometimes lacking. The return of a more intuitive tactical mode has been requested by players wanting to bring back a clearer and more strategic view during battle. I agree that there's visibility and clarity issues in the fight, but I don't think the tactical chessboard view is what's causing the problem. It would solve that problem. I think it's more like statuses and stuff like that, which is kind of a much bigger problem. Hero mode. Requested even before the launch of Unity, remains a highly anticipated feature among multi-account players. With performance issues on less powerful machine, hero mode could be a great answer for players to play more smoothly without compromising their playstyles. We hope the answer provided last week, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Already I'm thinking these are less priority, but with 3 per week, I don't know how longer they will keep doing that, because we're already getting into important but not that important topics. I think hero mode is interesting, especially for multi-account players. But I don't think it should be like Wakfu. I think it just should be you have multiple accounts, you control multiple characters, but it's just in a single instance to save on the resources. I don't know how easy it would be to do that, obviously.